62 of the Constitution is the problem. And the Supreme Court, through its judicial activism, expunged that section of the Constitution to put to rest the issue of joint account by the state and the local government. And we see that as a welcome development. It's a step in the right direction.
So if we feel that the problem is with the state independent electoral commissions conducting local government elections, then the National Assembly should make amend the Constitution to give such powers to INEC to conduct local government elections.
Nigeria Customs Service has called on the general public to be wary of fraudsters using a fake site advertising for auction of items seized by the customs and recruitment exercise. Through a press statement, the Nigeria Customs Service said the platform is fake and ill-conceived by a criminally minded group of people in disguise to swindle innocent people. The service wished to clarify that auctions of seized overtime goods were never conducted via any social media platform. Any of such claims on social media is pure fraud and should be promptly reported. The statement also said that all seized overtime goods have a laid-down standard operating procedure for disposal in line with the Nigeria Customs Service Act 2023, and there is only one portal for such auction, which is far different from the one being peddled on the social media. The service reiterates its commitment at protecting the public from fraudulent activities and implored all Nigerians to exercise vigilance and prudence when approached with unverified offers or announcements regarding NCS auctions or recruitment. You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News. We'll quickly take a break and we'll return. The news continues. To stay with us. We're glad to have you back. A northern organization, the Ariwa Youth Ambassadors, have disassociated itself from calls to stage a protest against the federal government policies, alleging that some of those calls are sponsored from people that are against the government economic reform policies. Public Relations Officer of the group, Malam Namadi Dunia, said that this in Kaduna while speaking to newsmen on recent emergency meeting to chart a way forward for the organization. Dunia also accused some individuals of being sponsored to support the planned protest, he called on security operatives to closely monitor and investigate any individual or group with ulterior motive on the issue.
This protest, we are calling on security agencies, the DSS and the police, to closely investigate this fellow, make sure law and order is maintained, and hold him responsible for any breach in public peace or chaos capable of sabotaging economic activities.
The PRO explained that the group had sacked and replaced its national coordinator for taking a unilateral decision in support of the protest without consulting with other officials, which violated their mission.
Statements and actions no longer represent or align with that of our organizations, and has therefore called for action. The coordinator's recent outburst, attack on government and its economic reform policies, and call for protest has revealed its ulterior motives, hence lack of patriotism.
Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has attributed overcrowding of the Nigerian correctional facilities across the country to cases of delay in justice delivery, among others. Governor Fubara made this known at the Government House in Port Harcourt when he played host to members of the House Representatives Committee. Nigeria must ensure that its system work effectively in ensuring that problems faced with overcrowding of correctional facilities are addressed. On his part, the Chairman, House Representatives Committee on Reformatory Institution, Honorable Chinedu Oga, blamed the negligence of correctional centers in Nigeria as a major issue.
Issues that we're talking about, overcrowding of the prisons or correctional centers, might be late or delay in their cases. That is the truth. When their cases have been delayed, the other aspect is you arrest somebody wrongfully or whatever, and the process of investigation takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So we need to make sure that our institutions are functioning effectively.
Major issue we are having in this country is negligence of the correction service in aspect of the security. I want you to note that the greater number of the correction service in Rivers State are 4 in numbers. They have one in Port Harcourt here, one in Ahoda, one in Sebama, and the farm settlement. And each of these places housing almost about 4,000 something inmates. In these 4,000 inmates, have 91% are awaiting trial.
In Rivers State have called on the State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to support women farmers in the state in their quest to engage in mechanized farming. The women under the ages of Women in Farming and Agro-Allied Support Network from the 23 local government areas of the state stormed the Government House with placards singing solidarity songs. They called for urgent action from the government in ensuring they play their part. House entrance in Port Harcourt, the national coordinator of the group, Glory Koka, said their visit is to intimate the governor on their desire to go into mechanized farming. Receiving the women, the head of service Rivers State, Dr. George Nwake, and the State Commissioner for Agriculture charged the women to embrace the state governor policy of boosting agriculture in the state.
Decided to come one-on-one and know why our letter have not reached him, number one. And number two, the women are here. They want the governor to see them, to support them as farmers.
So what is holding us from feeding Rivers State? The cassava from here is the best. It's not like those things they bring from Midwest. Our own is the best. Why are you not proud of yourself? Why are you not standing up to contribute to the economy? This is the right time. We all have to say yes to this. The governor has already said that that is the main target of next year's budget.
I want to assure you that your concerns have been heard. And as we leave here now, we are going to go to His Excellency and inform him of what you have said. And also let me say this. A lot of you are aware of the policy plan of His Excellency.
And now move over to the foreign desk for more news. Hello and welcome to the foreign news. With a bandage strapped over one ear, Donald Trump made a triumphant return to the public eye at the Republican National Convention, receiving a rapturous welcome from thousands of supporters 2 days after an attempt on his life. The former president entered the convention arena in Milwaukee with a feast raised onto the strains of a live performance of God Bless the USA. He then slowly walked through cheering crowds of delegates, some with tears in their eyes, before greeting key political allies and members of his family, including 3 of his children, but not his wife Miliana. At the moment, the audience pumped their fist and called out, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" echoing Trump's cry after a bullet grazed his ear at a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. The Republican nominee for November's presidential contest is riding a wave of political momentum. The Democratic Party has been questioning 81-year-old Joe Biden candidacy following a poor debate performance last month, while Trump's team has celebrated recent legal victories. At the FISA Forum in Milwaukee, the former president listened to about an hour of speeches while sitting next to his running mate and vice presidential candidate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, whose place on the ticket for November's election was announced only hours before. Trump did not make a speech, but at times appeared moved by the crowd of thousands. At least one person was killed in a renewed anti-government protest across Kenya on Tuesday as police clashed with demonstrators demanding that President William Ruto step down. Youth-led nationwide protests that broke out a month ago against proposed tax hikes have continued even after Ruto withdrew the legislation and fired almost all of his cabinet. Activists say they want Ruto to resign and are calling for systematic changes to clean up corruption and poor governance. At least 50 people have been killed in a protest to date, the government-funded Kenya National Commission on Human Rights said on Tuesday. In Kitengela, a town at the southern outskirts of the capital Nairobi, police fired repeatedly in the direction of hundreds of protesters, some of whom were throwing stones. The protesters also burned tires, waved Kenyan flags and chanted, "Ruto must go." Reporters saw the body of one protester lying on the ground with blood oozing from a head wound. The police national spokesperson declined to comment. Tuesday's protests appeared to be some of the biggest since Ruto withdrew the tax increases on June 26. Newsmen reported the demonstrations in at least 23 of Kenya's 47 counties. In Nairobi Center, riot police fired tear gas at several dozen protesters. An ambulance service posted footage on X showing its personnel carrying away someone injured there on a stretcher. Demonstrators in the coastal city of Mombasa waved palm fronds as they marched while litter burned in the streets, images on Kenyan television channels showed. More than 10 million Sudanese, or 20% of the population, have been driven from their homes since the war began. The International Organization of Migration said on Tuesday as the world's largest displacement crisis continues to worsen. The number is the latest dire figure out of the East African country, devastated by a conflict that began in April 2023. The conflict has left half the population of about 50 million facing a hunger crisis and in need of humanitarian aid, the most of any country. More than 2.2 million people have fled inside the country, the IOM said in a bi-monthly report. An additional 2.2 in the army and paramilitary rapid support forces that broke out in the capital Khartoum last year quickly expanded. The court say hunger has replaced violence as the largest driver of migration from Darfur, where they face difficulty delivering aid. As the RSF expanded its reach in the southeast of the country in recent weeks, more than 150,000 people were displaced from Sinai state. The IOM said many for the second or third time after RSF raid on markets and homes in the state's small towns and villages. And still on foreign news, the Gambia's lawmakers have rejected a bill seeking to overturn Fabakary Tongo, said the majority of MPs had voted against the bill even before its third and final reading due later this month. Human rights group and the US, the Gambia is among the 10 countries with the highest rates of FGM, with 73% of women and girls aged 15 to 49 having undergone the procedure. The draft law, tabled by Alma Megiba, was rejected after MPs voted against all of its proposed clauses. Ms. Jatta said the bill had not moved to the third reading. When it was introduced in March, the bill was approved by a majority of MPs, raising the prospect of the Gambia becoming the first country to overturn a ban on the practice. In the procedure's most severe form, after removing the sensitive clitoris, the genitals are cut and stitched closed so that perpetrators and life sentences if a girl die as a result. FGM is banned in more than 70 countries globally, but continues to be practiced particularly in Muslim-majority countries such as the Gambia. Right Lobby Action Aid had warned that any step to lift the ban would jeopardize the Gambia's progress in tackling violence against women and girls. At least 5 people were killed when militiamen ambushed a convoy in central Somalia and seized heavy weapons, the local government and residents said on Tuesday. 7 months after a decades-long arms embargo was lifted. The convoy was traveling on Monday with a security escort near the town of Abduak when militiamen from a local clan attacked and overpowered security forces, 4 residents told newsmen. They said the arms, which included machine guns, anti-aircraft weapons and rocket-propelled grenades, originated in neighboring Ethiopia. It is unfortunate that 5 people died from both sides yesterday over weapons, said Ahmed Shir, a security advisor to the president of Galmudug state, where Abduak is located. We understand the weapons fell into the hands of civilians. Rashid Abdi, an analyst with the SAN research think tank, called the incident the single most serious incident of arms proliferation in central Somalia, and said some of the weapons would likely be bought by Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda affiliate. Writing on X, Abdi said it was a clear case of why lifting of arms embargo in Somalia was a big strategic mistake. And finally, on foreign news, a university student has been killed in Bangladesh, police said, as protests against a quota system for government jobs intensified. On Tuesday, thousands of Raj police were patrolling university campuses across the country in an effort to avert any violence. Police said they used tear gas and rubber reserved for family members of veterans who fought in Bangladesh's 1971 War of Independence, which allows them to take up 30% of government jobs. Protesters gathered in front of the university official residence of the Vice-Chancellor and accused Bangladesh Chhatra League, a student wing of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's governing Awami League party, of attacking the peaceful protest. According to local media report, police and the governing party backed student wing attacked the protesters. Tens of thousands of students took part in a nationwide protest after more than 1 areas, including Dhaka.